The transportation sector contributes substantially to environmental impacts across the globe. In Western nations, as much as 25% of greenhouse gas emissions are caused by personal mobility. Sometimes people jokingly say the most sustainable mobility is no mobility. But of course, that's not a solution. Mobility is critical to fulfilling our personal needs and to our economy. So how can we make mobility more sustainable while maintaining or even improving its service? And will these improvements be beneficial for sustainability in other sectors as well, or cause potential conflicts? I'm Marco Miotti, and I'm a senior researcher at the Chair of Ecological Systems Design at ETH Zurich. I use data-driven methods to understand the drivers of energy consumption and pollution patterns in our cities, focusing on human mobility. Specifically, I focus on the relationship between these drivers and urban form. With urban form, I refer to the physical characteristics of our urban spaces, the size, shape, configuration, and design of the built environment that we live in, work in, and spend time in. Evidence suggests that urban form can have a large impact on mobility behavior and therefore urban sustainability. In prior work from the United States, I found that people living in the densest urban areas use about 80% less energy to travel each day than people living in rural areas, mostly due to the higher proximity of jobs and various points of interests, less car-oriented road infrastructure, and better public transit. Now I am working on a more detailed investigation of these drivers at higher spatial resolution for the Lausanne metro area. To do that, I am evaluating different ways to quantify urban form in a way that is most meaningful for sustainability. The demand for travel follows certain interesting rules. Did you know that people, on average, have been found to spend roughly the same amount of time traveling each day, no matter whether they live in the middle of New York City, in the Bernese Alps, or the suburbs of New Delhi? So the main question, and the reason for the aforementioned differences in mobility energy use, is how we spend that time, where we go, how we get there, and what influences these decisions. Based on the metrics of urban form, I study how they relate to aggregate mobility patterns, that is, the flows of people that come from and go to all the different possible locations from the local neighborhood scale to the country scale. Finally, I aim to integrate my findings on human mobility with related efforts from other sectors, in particular the building sector. This integration will help us identify trade-offs and synergies. For example, does higher density always reduce both mobility and building energy use? And are there particular urban designs that maximize these synergies? By answering these kinds of questions, I aim to inform planners, private organizations, and individual citizens about how we can accelerate our progress towards more sustainable and more livable urban spaces across cities, towns, and suburbs.